back to my channel. My name is Jill and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up. So let's just get into it. Before we get started, can we just appreciate my peach shirt? I love it so much. So August was kind of crazy and chaotic. I was moving into my dorm at college and I was starting all of my classes for the fall semester, and so I only ended up reading 7 books, and most of those were towards like the beginning of the month. But yeah, August was just crazy and stressful, and anyway, let's just get right on into the books. The first book that I ended up completing in August was The Winter's Kiss by Marie Rutkoski. So this is the third and final book in the Winter's trilogy. I won't go super into it because I've been talking about this trilogy in like almost every single video on my channel lately. The first one starts off to where the guy is a slave and the girl is like a general's daughter, and everything goes from there. I was very unsure of my rating for this book when I finished it, just because I don't know, like I still don't know how exactly I feel about it. Like, I enjoyed the ending, but the journey to get to the ending was really frustrating. There's so much angst in this book. The angst. I'm not going to spoil it, but it does follow like a war that's happening, but the war kind of takes a back seat to the romance, and I was just so frustrated that these characters would make decisions purely based on the romance when like it was putting all these people's lives in jeopardy, you know what I mean? Anyway, so the romance is really cute and I do enjoy the 2 main characters, but I just wish that this had like less drama in it. But overall I did end up giving it 3 stars. I think it was a okay conclusion. Like I said, I was satisfied with the ending, but like the journey to get there was hella frustrating. But anyway, yeah, I recommend this fantasy. I feel like it can appeal to different types of people, and the covers I absolutely love so much. Like, I don't know, I just love the dresses, they're so pretty. Anyway, yeah, so 3 out of 5 stars for this one. Next up, I read Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith, which I ended up giving also a 3 stars. This reminded me a lot of Slay by Brittany Morris, which I've talked about again lots on this channel. I absolutely adored Slay. Like, what a book. And unfortunately I didn't like this one as much as that one. They're similar in the fact that they both deal with the video game world, and there is a person of color gamer girl who gets a lot of shit for being in the gaming world, and everyone's very hostile towards her, and it's no different in this book. This follows like this book's version of like a Twitch streamer named Divya. She starts getting like doxxed and harassed by people online, and it goes so far that people start to harass her in real life, and it's like a huge mess, and everyone's just pissed off at her for no reason, or the reason is that she's a girl and she's a girl of color who is really popular in the gaming world. And the game in this book is called Reclaim the Sun, which I gotta admit was a hella cool game. Like, props to them for making this game. Like, I would definitely play it if I was a gamer. I won't like go into it, but it's very briefly like you explore the galaxy and try to find these planets and like colonize them kind of, but it's just like for resources and stuff, and there's like trillions of different planets, and so like every single time you go on it's like something different. Anyway, I'm not explaining it well, but it was super cool. And this book also follows a guy named Aaron, and he has dreams of being a video game writer. Anyway, they end up meeting by chance. I really liked Aaron at the beginning of the book, but he really did start to annoy me by the end, and I feel like he lacks kind of like common sense, and it kind of was frustrating. You know, it is what it is. The main problem with this book is that most of it I felt like was really unrealistic, and I gotta preface this by saying like I can totally read books that have like unrealistic type themes in it. Like, I can deal with that. That doesn't like super bother me, but I think this book just like passed my line in how much that I could take, because it just seemed like, especially the ending was just so unrealistic, and I feel like it detracted a lot from my overall enjoyment of the book, just because I could not imagine what happened going down, and I just could not take it very seriously. And plus I think the ending wrapped up like way quicker than I would have thought, and we didn't get like a lot of closure with some of the characters. So yeah, overall 3 stars. I am glad that I read it, and if you are a video gamer, or if you want to read a book about a badass person of color, girl gamer, this book might be perfect for you. But for me, I was just kind of annoyed with some of the characters. Yeah, it was an interesting story, and I know some people like really like it, like Jessie from Jessie the Reader really love it. So yeah, give it a try if you were interested. Next up, I read a fantastic book, and that was The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. This book follows a girl named Ashley amidst the 1992 Rodney King riots. If you didn't know, Rodney King was a black man who was severely beaten beaten like almost to death by the LAPD, and as a result, in like the 5 days following that event, and the officers like don't really get charged with anything, there are huge riots in Los Angeles, and the city is basically on fire for like multiple days. And so that's kind of the backdrop of this story. I think I should emphasize that the riot part of it stays in the background. Most of the story is about Ashley, and she is in high school and all of the drama that she has to go through, and the riots are really in the background. They are not in the forefront, which I think is like a misconception about this book, and I feel like the marketing really makes it seem like we're going to be like in the riots, but it's really just like something that's going on in the news in the background. Like other members of Ashley's family are more invested in the riots, but Ashley herself kind of takes a back seat to it. And I think that was a really unique perspective. I just feel like that is important to note. And I think Christina Hammonds Reed does an absolutely amazing job using these riots as like this low simmer in the background to drive Ashley's character development. Like you kind of have to read it to know what I'm talking about, but I really enjoyed it. Also because Ashley at the beginning of this book has some, she isn't the best. She has some of her own biases and her own privileges that she kind of has to face head on and realize that she is biased in some ways. Ashley does come from a super wealthy family, so even though she is black, she does have that privilege of being super wealthy, so she feels like she's kind of above a lot of things that are happening, and so it's really interesting to see her develop. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I really highly recommend it. I ended up giving it, I think, 4.25 stars. It was great. There is a lot of drama in this book, and the romance is weird, but you know, it is what it is. Like I keep saying, I really enjoyed following Ashley and her character development. I think that it was so well done. Anyway, yeah, highly recommend this one. It was great. Next up, I read an adult romance, and that was Girl Gone Viral by Alisha. This is the second book in her Modern Love series, the first one being The Right Swipe, which I read recently and really enjoyed, and I think I loved this one even more than that first one. This one follows a girl named Katrina, and she suffers from severe anxiety and has panic attacks, and one day Katrina ends up going viral when she like shares a table with this guy at the cafe, and they're not together, but like this huge like Twitter extravaganza starts happening, and because Katrina suffers a lot from anxiety, she does not want to go viral. She is freaking out. Her bodyguard Jas ends up taking her to his peach farm in order to sort of take a break from the world and take a break from social media, and was the cutest. I did mention that Jas also deals with PTSD because he is a war veteran, and so there's also that representation in the book, and I just thought that it was truly just the cutest, most wonderful story. It is definitely in the top tier of my adult romances. My thing about romances is I love for there to be like a family dynamic within it. Like it's fine to get to know the main guy and girl, but I really like getting to know their families. Like that just makes me love the two characters even more, and this book has a lot of family drama, and this book focuses a lot on Jas's family at the peach farm, and I just really loved getting to know all of them and seeing all the drama that was happening. I just loved it. And Jas in general is just the cutest. Have I mentioned that he's her bodyguard? I don't know if I have. If I haven't, Jas is her bodyguard, and he is the sweetest guy ever. Like, he's such a cinnamon roll. I love him so much. Anyway, so there are trigger warnings for PTSD, severe anxiety along with panic attacks, and also past trauma, specifically with kidnapping. So just know that going in if any of those are sensitive topics. Overall, I just adored this story so much, and Alisha is quickly becoming one of my favorite adult romance authors, and I cannot wait for the third book in this trilogy, which I think comes out in 2021. And yeah. This was so much fun. Oh, I finally have another physical book, and next up I finished the 5th season by N.K. Jemison. This book I ended up giving 4 stars, and I think I gave it 4 stars purely because it took me like the entire month to read it. Like I was literally reading this for like 25 days, and I was so busy, and I like could not handle like reading a physical fantasy book, so I kept putting it down and only reading a couple pages a day, and because of that I like kind of like fell out of connection with a lot of the characters. I totally understand why people love N.K. Jemison so much. Like she has such a way with describing things and such a way with words, and like the plot twists in this book like just blew me away. As with any fantasy, I'm so bad at describing what like adult fantasy books are about, but very briefly we start at the end of the world. Basically in this world, every so often the world goes through a 5th season or like a death season. This starts at the beginning of one of those fifth seasons when a giant rift opens up in the middle of the earth and it starts spewing like ash and lava and all kinds of stuff like that. And all the characters in the book have to deal with living in this world where at any time it could be like an apocalypse. And yeah, this is a fantasy book that features basically solely black characters, so I thought that was super awesome. Anyway, overall, I cannot wait to continue on with the next book. This ended on such a cliffhanger, I cannot deal with it. And yeah, if you want a really high quality fantasy, I would highly recommend this book, and I wish that I had read it quicker because I'm sure I would have given it 5 stars if I had read it like straight through and not like taken a bunch of breaks in between. Anyway, very good, very excited for the next one. Next up, I read Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This is a YA contemporary book that I ended up giving 4 stars. It follows like this Twitter war that happens when this really big food chain called Big League Burger steals a grilled cheese recipe from like a small deli, and it follows 2 teenagers, a girl named Pepper and a guy named Jack. Get it? Pepper Jack cheese. Okay, so Pepper is the daughter of the founder of Big League Burger, and Jack is the son of the owners of the small deli, and Jack and Pepper are actually the ones that are engaging in the Twitter war. When I say Twitter war, I'm like thinking of, you know, Wendy's, you know, their like sassy Twitter replies. It's kind of like what this book is based on, or what the Twitter war is based on. I really loved watching the 2 characters sort of go on their journeys and kind of come into themselves, because they both have immense parental pressure to do certain things with their lives, and Jack and Pepper might not agree with what their parents have set out for them. So I thought it was really great watching them kind of come into their own. The romance is super cute, and the only thing that bothered me is that the relationship between Pepper and her mom seemed very unrealistic, or at least like the explanation for it was not very satisfactory for me. I don't know, Pepper's mom is kind of a lot. I don't want to spoil it, but she's a lot, and so I was kind of angry with her through a lot of the book. And again, even when like it was explained why she's like this, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's good enough, and I don't know if that excuses your actions, but okay. Yeah, if you want something cute and fluffy with a lot of great banter, this is definitely one you might think of checking out. Alright, and the final book that I read was a book for school, so I won't go super into it, and that is Oroonoko by Aphra Behn. I forgot it at my dorm, so here's a picture of it. This is the first book that I read for one of my like 17th century literature class, and I ended up really liking it more than I thought I would, and I'm not going to rate it because it's kind of weird to rate it. I ended up liking it. It like had way more drama than I thought it would. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in August, and instead of doing like a September TBR, I'll just talk very briefly, like very briefly, about all the books that I'm currently reading right now. So I started my first historical romance book this at the end of August, but I haven't finished it yet, and that is The Duchess Deal by Tessa. I am really enjoying it so far. There's some parts that make me roll my eyes, but overall I'm liking it more than I thought I would. Also, for another class, I am reading If I Ever Get Out of Here by Eric Gansworth, and this is a book that follows an indigenous main character. And next up for another class, I'm reading Moll Flanders by Daniel DeFoe. This is another like 17th century novel. So far, again, way more drama than I thought I would, so I'm kind of digging it. And finally, I just got the audiobook for Daisy Joan and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I had put a hold for this audiobook at my library like 3-4 months ago, and it finally came in. I'm not super in the mood for it right now, but I've been waiting for it for like 4 months, so I think I'm going to give it a try. Anyway, so those are all the books that I am currently reading, and I will update you guys at the end of September as to whether I like them and my final thoughts on them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and comment down below your favorite book that you read in the month of August. I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe and wearing their masks and everything like that. Yeah, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!